Howdy, folks, and welcome to Moose Podcast 237. Here it is, almost the end of April. 2021 is flying by. It's amazing. It's been a great year so far for us. I hope it has been for you as well. Hey, you guys have been kind of quiet this past week. I have to assume that's because spring has sprung for most of you, and nothing gets a photographer, especially a wildlife photographer or nature photographer's juices running like spring. So I hope you're out there having a great time shooting up a storm. But I want to thank you for stopping by. I take it as quite an honor that you come by to listen to my ramblings. I do appreciate the emails you sent. So thank you so much for being part of the Moose Gang. Also want and need to thank my good friends at Bedford Camera, bedfords.com. Those folks, you hear me week after week talk about them. I talk to those folks probably every week. Just trade in some gear to get some other gear. They make it clean and simple. They make it economically, viable. So I can't thank them not only for sponsoring the Moose Podcast, but for helping me out as a business, as a photographer. So make sure you head to Bedfords, bedfords.com, mention that special discount, MOOSE. Don't think I don't every time, but then of course when I say it's Moose, it's kind of like a given. Save yourself some real money, get yourself some great gear, have a good time, make some good friends. That's bedfordscamera.com. I'm going to get right into this week's podcast. Paranoia. Now, hopefully you saw that title and it really caught your attention. So, paranoia. This is one of the few times I'm actually going to, refer to some other material directly to make my point. Forever, as long as I've been a photographer, one thing that if you would look through my writings or my interviews, people ask a question. They say, do you worry about this or do you worry about that? And one of my common, right out of the can responses since almost day one is, I don't seem to worry about all those things that I'm being told as a photographer should I worry about. I just go out and shoot. And I always get an odd expression or response to the fact that I just don't worry about those things. And I've been watching photographers and writing and stuff that's on the web, especially this past year. And I think that it can all be summed up in this one simple word: paranoia. Now, photography, as you know, I think is nothing more than a celebration of life. It's how we celebrate the fact that we are so fortunate to go out the front door or back door, or side door, whatever door, with a camera and explore the world that we find fascinating and capture those memories and bring them back, either to put on our refrigerator to enjoy for ourselves, or put them out there for the whole world to enjoy that moment we're so fortunate to experience. I have always thought of it that way. It is part of who I am and how I was raised. The glass is always half full. So the paranoia that seems to be continually injected into this craft, point blank, drives me nuts, angers me at times, infuriates me at times. And when I deal with a person who's been infected with that paranoia, I point blank will admit I have a very short fuse, and I just get I just don't understand it. I have a hard time dealing with that person and that paranoia when, Lordy, it's just a frickin' photograph. I mean, in all honesty, it's just a photograph. The vast majority of us are not out there taking photographs to change the world. You know, I think you should be, and I know you can, but our chosen profession is not to go out and to photograph current events like some of the incredibly, God bless them, talented men and women who are out there, in some cases, putting their life on the line to tell us a story with their camera that otherwise we wouldn't know. We're out there taking pictures of sunrises and flowers and birds. And while that is important, if we don't come back with that photograph, the sun will still shine tomorrow. Life will go on. So why is that paranoia injected into this conversation, into this stream? And I'm sorry, the negativity that goes with that. I don't get it. So, had some experiences, saw it for myself, and I got to think about this, and we got to talk about this. So, probably a first for the podcast. I'm going to the dictionary here for paranoia, which it says is a noun. A noun, not an adjective, not an adverb, not a verb, a noun, which to me elevates it as being one of the more important top tier words. And it says paranoia, a mental condition characterized by delusions of persecution. Whoa. Unwarranted jealousy. Yeah, that's not hard to see in photographers. Lastly, exaggerated self-importance, typically elaborated into an organized system. Exaggerated self-importance, typically elaborated into an organized system. That last one, I'm just like, wow. The bells went off. The alarms sounded. How many are out there seriously bombarding photographers with paranoia to give themselves some self-importance? So the paranoia then is not real. It is put out there to make the person spreading the paranoia feel better about themselves while making other people feel not so good about themselves. There are, for sure, some justified things to be worried about. Walking in front of a car that's moving down the road, that is something you should be concerned about. Slapping a bison on the butt, getting to turn around and take a portrait, definitely something you should be really concerned about and not even do. Some of these other things in photography, oh lordy, they should just die on the vine. They shouldn't go any further. Now, I was tempted to make a list of all the paranoia things that are out there that are really common and kind of make fun of them. But then I'm doing what? Reverse paranoia? More importantly, I think it's that if you as a photographer think about the things that you are really concerned about and then not be concerned about, what would that do for your photography? So one thing I'm going to talk about is noise. Noise is something that you hear a lot of noise about. In the days of film, you had grain. And there was really very little you could do about it. Unless you took extraordinary leaps and bounds and measures and spent a lot of money that in photography is simply just not there. You learned to live with grain. It was part of the process. And in fact, if you look in Photoshop, you can introduce the grain of film into your digital images to get that look. Now, to me, it's like, okay, if there is an ability to introduce that look into our digital shots, perhaps it wasn't that bad. Yet, it was something that was always talked about. Now, you have noise. And what about that noise? In all honesty. Now, I'm not talking about cranking your ISO up to 5,632.333 and shoot to your heart's content. But I'm here to say that if noise is one of your main considerations when you're out taking a shot, then there's something wrong. Paranoia has been set into your system, and rather than enjoying that moment and making the most of it, you're thinking about something that, if you're not a photographer, you're not going to worry about. And to this day, knock on wood, I have yet to have any photo buyer go, I love the photograph. I would buy it, but there's way too much noise in it. So, it just, and it's still like it comes up in conversation so much. I don't understand it. Other than someone has set that seed of paranoia in your head, and boom, there it is. What other things are there about that's, drives me nuts? There is the putting a filter in front of your lens, ruining your image quality of that lens. Holy crudoli. I've had a protective filter in front of my lens since day one. Again, I've never had any editor go, not going to buy your picture because there's a filter in front and I can see the difference. It's not as sharp as it should be. Come on. Really? Who puts this paranoia out there? Someone says, I put it on a bench and did a bench test and look what happened. I don't photograph benches. I work on benches and wood. There's sawdust and stuff, but I don't photograph benches. So bench test. Where's that paranoia coming from? I mean, and the list can go on and on. And thank God, in all these decades, all these things you're supposed to worry about, that paranoia has never seeped into my photography. I have never worried about those things. I just go out and I shoot. Do sometimes things not work out? Of course. Do I get skunked? More times than I want to admit. Do I miss photographs? Yeah, there's things out of focus. It's not because of a filter. It's because of the idiot, moi, didn't do something right at the camera. I mean, I just got done coming back from photographing chickens and grouse. And more than once, I found myself so intrigued in what I was seeing in the viewfinder, I forgot to hit the back button on the back of the camera to focus. That's not because of anything other than me. So this paranoia that's so prevalent that, I'm sorry, if you come up to me with that paranoia, you're probably going to get the side of moose you just don't want to deal with because it drives me nuts. Why do so many have to look at that paranoia and spread it? And it's infectious. It's worse than the pandemic in photographers. Why can't we just simply count our blessings, go out and shoot, and just revel in the fact that Ansel had it right? How many photographs does it take to have a good one? One. That's it. If we all get just that one photo a day, you'd have 365 amazing images by the time New Year rolls around. That's to be celebrated, not the paranoia for the other photographs that didn't work. That's part of this whole photographic process, is that failure. So please don't get sucked into this paranoia, this things that you're told you should worry about, when the only thing you should really concern yourself with is the joy that photography brings to you and your life. That's what it's all about. And this paranoia stuff, I'm here to tell you, if we flushed that down the tubes, we took that negativity that so many thrive on to sit there and make a dime, which drives me nuts. If we just flush it away, think of what we could do as a community. Just think, wow, it'd be tremendous. Well, you guys continue to have a great week. I'm getting photographs of baby birds popping out, so I know you're out there looking and enjoying these wonders that life brings us. Take that camera and have a great time. And to remember to make every click your story.